Hey, 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 and welcome to Brand OTC or Brand Over the Counter, where we answer your branding questions with a full over the counter product. Now, today's product is called IdentiKit, and it equips brands with essential visual assets to create a cohesive and recognizable identity. Now, you're going to need this type of a product if your brand has an incomplete presence, low brand equity, or weak cohesion. All right, so let's get into it. My name is Cynthia Akita, and I'm your brand strategist, designer, and educator here at the Design Firmacy. And I am ready to help you guys understand the 7 must-have visuals every brand needs. And so the question is, what visuals should every brand have? All right, so again, let's get into it. So, when you're building your brand, visuals are important. They are extremely important in the same manner that you wouldn't eat a plate of food that had, a disgusting splatter all over it and had maggots in it and all of that. You don't want your brand to appear in that way as well. People also experience your brand with their eyes, and you want to make sure that their eyes meet something that's lovely, that's comforting, that that meets the needs and the desires that they have for the solution that you're saying you will provide them with. And so you don't want your brand to suffer from any type of visual confusion. And I'm going to tell you, 7 things that you can make sure that you have. Now, I don't want to give you pressure. You can gradually build your visual suite, your visual arsenal. So work on it, 1 step at a time. Partner with a graphic designer or a brand strategist who can help you put all of those things together without you trying to have to figure it out on your own, without having all the knowledge on how to do that. All right, so let's start with number one. You definitely need a logo system, a logo suite, and that is your visual signature. So, your logo, I know a lot of times people believe that you just need one logo, and that is completely false. Your logo needs some friends, it needs some brothers and sisters. It's supposed to be a family, a system. It's not just a standalone thing. And so, your brand needs a primary logo, which is the logo that people will see most often. They need a secondary logo, which will be a different orientation of your primary logo. For example, if your primary logo takes up more horizontal space, like it's stacked on top of each other, then your secondary logo will likely be something that takes up more further. Well, sorry, I just confused myself. Okay, flip that. My apologies. If your primary logo is stacked up on each other, that means it takes more vertical space. I messed that up. And then if that's the case, then your secondary logo is going to take more vertical space. I mean, more horizontal space. My apologies. I don't know why I keep messing that up. It's early. So your secondary logo is going to take up more horizontal space. That way, let's say you have a flyer that maybe you can only put your logo on a small bar area of that flyer, then the logo that takes up more horizontal space would be better suited there versus maybe the front of a booklet where it could take up more vertical space, and so that's what those different variations are for. And then you also have your mark, your brand mark, or your icon, which is typically used in cases where someone is on a phone or in very, very small spaces like your Facebook profile picture, your Instagram profile, like any social media profile picture, because those areas are very small. You're likely not going to be able to see a full logo in those spaces. And so that's what the mark or the icon is for. All right. So again, it's your visual signature and it has to be recognized, immediately. You want people to be able to acknowledge that your brand is what it is the moment they see you. So an example of that is Nike. Nike has the swoosh. They just put the swoosh on the sneakers, and in some places they put the word Nike, the word mark, right? And so they have those options. It's not just one logo over the other. And other times they have, I mean, in the past, they've had the swoosh with the words Nike, the word mark Nike all together as a logo. But they've evolved over time, and now you'll most likely see either the swoosh or just Nike. And so your logo system, again, it needs a family, it needs brothers and sisters, all of that. It can't just be a standalone logo. The second thing you need is a color palette because that sets the mood, right? You can even choose just one color and have I'm using family a lot, but just to show that they go together. So choose complementary colors for that one color. Or you could use colors that are in that same family. So if you have a red, maybe you have a lighter tone of the red and a darker tone of the red to help complement it. Other people tend to go for the 3 to 5 core colors, which are totally fine as well. It depends on what is best for your brand. But I do want to mention that you don't have to do it all at once. So if you find that one color is working really well, you may realize that down the line, you'll start to pick up on what other color is also working, and then you can add it to your color palette. You know, your visual system can change. It can be altered, it can be advanced based on where your brand is going and how your audience is responding. And so whatever you choose, just make sure that those colors reflect personality, the personality of your brand and your audience's emotions, the emotions you want them to have or the emotions that they're currently feeling. So color psychology is really, really important. And I have a video on that that I shared a while back. So you can find that one too. But for example, blue yields trust. Red is very passionate. Like if you have passion, use red. Like Valentine's Day, love red. And yellow is optimistic, it's creative. And so colors evoke emotions, and you want to make sure that the emotions you're evoking are consistent with the culture and the area that you're in. For example, one color in America may have a different significance in another country. Black in my country is for mourning and death, right? But I know, I believe in Nigerian culture, they can even wear black to weddings, if I'm not mistaken. And so they would never do that in my country because they would be like, what in the world? Like, did somebody die? You know? And so you want to ensure that the colors that you choose match the psychology of the part of the world that you're in. Another example of that is Tiffany blue. Everyone knows Tiffany blue, right? You always think of luxury, sophistication, exclusivity, money. And so the colors that you choose set the mood for your brand. The next thing you need to focus on is your typography because it's essentially your brand's voice in visual form. And so fonts also express a tone, they also evoke emotion in the same way that your colors do. And so a sans serif can be more for a modern brand, and that means it doesn't have those little ticks on the letter. Just so I'll try to put a visual on the screen if I can remember. And I said it doesn't have ticks. Okay, I think I did. Not sure, but let me reiterate that. So sans serif means that it doesn't have the ticks on it. Serifs means that it has the ticks. So serifs are for more timeless and professional feels, and then the sans serif is for modern brands. So it doesn't look aged if it's a sans serif. And I don't want to say aged, but that's kind of, that's the vibe it kind of gives. So essentially, you want to make sure that you have 2 to 3 fonts max. And in me saying 2 to 3 fonts, I want to specify that it doesn't mean you have to have 2 to 3 different ones. For example, your header could be like a Poppins extra bold, your body could be Poppins regular, and then your accent could be Poppins light or something italicized, So you want to make sure you have a heading. Some people prefer a subheading as well, body, and some have an accent for a little bit of flair. It may be like a cursive or something that is different from the heading and the body font, just so that you have like a little bit of an edge to your visuals. Now, the fourth thing you want to have is a photography style. So if you use I mean, most people use photography, but if you use photography in your branding, you want to create a human connection with that. So you want to define a very clear photo direction. Either your photos are bright, they're airy, they're outdoorsy, maybe they're dark and moody and dramatic, or maybe they're just very clean and minimal. Think of like iPhone. Sorry, not just iPhone, like Apple. Apple, the way they photograph their images, like you know that it belongs to them, right? And so you want to think of a photo direction that you want to go in. You want to make sure you're consistent in that lighting. You want to be consistent in how the subject matter is portrayed so that it's instantly recognizable. And even if you're not this big photographer or you haven't been able to hire one, you can even bring it down to what is it called? Like the filter, the type of filter that you use on all of your photos, making sure that they're consistent so that they know that, hey, maybe this tone or this warm tone of a photo reminds me of this particular brand, and whatever they're doing in the photo is definitely from this brand. So Airbnb uses warm, candid images to help people feel like they belong because they want you to feel comfortable in whichever home that you're renting out. Number five is brand icons or graphics. Those are your visual DNA. And so you want to have your designer create a set of recurring design elements, whether they're patterns, icons, just images that you can use to reinforce your brand's memory. Again, to make sure that people can recognize you and attribute those elements to your brand specifically. So, in addition, these items help you enhance your posts, your presentations, and the products to make them recognizable even when your logo is not on them. I mean, your logo will be on them likely, most likely, but you want to make sure that you have other elements. An issue that I typically run into, and I'm going to talk about templates next, but generally when people ask me to design things for them, they don't have a suite, which is what we call all of these elements combined. They don't have a suite, they just have the one logo. And so they don't have any patterns, they don't have any icons, they don't have graphics. And so making these templates can become generic because they don't have those items to help them stand out. And so when you are getting your brand identity suite done, you want to make sure that those items are included, even if it's just one pattern. If it's a particular type of zigzag, maybe it goes in a wave, maybe it goes in a circle. You want to make sure that you have elements that you can use to distinguish yourself from the next person aside from your logo. Number six is your templates. So it allows consistency to be easy for you. So have some pre-designed templates for your social media, for your proposals, for your slide decks. Consistency is key. Consistency helps people to remember you. Consistency helps people to learn you. That way they can attribute certain things to you. And that consistency ensures that all of your touch points look unified, even if multiple people create the content for you. Unification, consistency, you want everything to mirror itself. It has to look like it belongs to the same brand. And so we have Canva templates that we've actually designed in our shop. If you visit the designpharmacy.com, you'll find them there, and you can use those templates as a base and then add your elements to them to make them yours. The final thing you absolutely need is your brand style guide or your brand guidelines. Now, the difference is that your brand style guide is typically like a one pager. It's very simple and easy for you to access. Whereas your brand guidelines can, honestly, it can be 100 or even more than 100 pages long. It's a very detailed, broken down playbook of your entire visual, well, not just your visual brand, but like your core and your visual brand put together. So you can look at it as like your visual constitution. It documents how you use and how not to use your logos, your colors, your fonts, your photos, all of your brand elements, and it keeps your brand consistent across time platforms and collaborators. So that means that despite who comes across your stuff, whether they're a new designer, whether they've been with you for 20 years and above, Everybody knows what to do, down to the line, down to the detail, down to the colors, because that brand style guide or brand guidelines tells them exactly how you expect the visuals to look in order to ensure that your brand is cohesive at all times. All right. So I'm going to quickly go through it again. The first is your logo system. Then you need your color palette, typography, photography style, your icons or graphics, your templates, and then your brand style guide or brand guidelines to tie it all together. Now, here's a final tip. You have to think of your visuals as like a wardrobe, like a brand wardrobe. Every piece you have should coordinate, it should fit your personality, and it should absolutely make a statement. Whether it's on your website, Instagram, your packaging, YouTube, wherever it is, it should coordinate and it should make a statement that fits your brand's personality. All right. Now, I wanted to ensure that you guys go ahead and join our school group in order to take our brand vitals assessment for free to check your brand's health. Visit personifymybrand.com/group to do that. And also visit our website for our Canva templates to elevate your brand visuals and present yourself like the pro that you are by visiting the designfirmacy.com. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Discover what sets your brand apart, then say it with confidence. What's Your Secret Sauce is a free 3-day challenge designed to help entrepreneurs uncover the unique flavor that makes their brand unforgettable. Through guided prompts, live training, and powerful clarity exercises, you'll identify what truly sets you apart and how to communicate it in a way that connects and converts. If you've ever struggled to stand out in a crowded market or explain what makes you different, this challenge will give you the breakthrough you need. You'll walk away with your personalized secret sauce recipe, a clear, compelling blend of your brand's strengths, purpose, and positioning that makes selling feel natural. Join us by visiting brandmysecretsauce.com. You're doing all the things: posting content, updating your website, running ads, tweaking your offers, but still wondering, why isn't this working? Truth is, you might be focusing on areas that look productive, but aren't actually moving the needle. The Brand Vitals Assessment helps you stop guessing and start targeting. It's like a wellness checkup, but for your brand. You'll gain crystal clear insight into the 9 essential areas every brand needs to thrive. No fluff, no filler, just facts about where your brand stands and what needs your focus. Because clarity is the first step to real momentum. And when you know where to focus, you start to see progress, not just activity. Get out of busy work. Get into brand building that actually works. Take the Brand Vitals Assessment now. Have you tapped into your Firmacy benefits? As a beneficiary, you unlock special offers, gifts, and always stay in the loop. Subscribe today to receive your exclusive dose. Visit firmacybenefits.com.